What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to give you our 5 keys to sport-specific training for youth athletes. So hopefully you enjoy this video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel. We post new videos every Tuesdays and Thursdays, so make sure you subscribe to catch all of them. Hope you enjoy. All right, so plain and simple, I think once you get to a certain age, so up until that point, I think sport-specific training in the weight room or in general is very stupid. I don't think there's a point to it. I think it's an absolute waste of time. I don't think you need to be having your 10-year-old doing sport-specific training for one sport. That being said, I do think there is a lot of merit to having your youth athlete train. We train quite a bit of young athletes. We have some 8, 9, 10, very young. But these are the 5 keys that we guide our training around when we do have young athletes. So number 1, we're starting off with keeping it general. The biggest thing that we can do for our youth athletes is keep it general, just build strength. At this point, building that strength and keeping it to where we can progress it over time is absolutely critical. It's not about training them to be really good in these specific position-specific movements for, let's say, soccer, for example, or if you're a youth baseball athlete. It's about building general strength. You need it everywhere because you want this to be applicable into a multitude of movements. So keep it general, just work on your basic strength building. That is our first key for training youth athletes. Number 2, I think one of the best things we can do for young athletes is let them compete. So yes, you can alter some mechanics and work on some basic foundational things, but I think at the end of the day, instilling that competitive drive in these athletes is one of the best things we can do. Having them in that group setting where they are competing, honestly, where they are learning to fail. And what I mean by that is in a very safe environment. I don't mean failing like a back squat. I mean allowing them to try jumping on a box and pushing the height, letting them learn that, you know what, sometimes you are gonna fail. Build that competitive fire to continue to want to improve. Compete with your friends. That to me is one of the biggest things that we can do, is providing that competitive environment where you're just creating like absolute dogs almost in the gym at that young age while still making it fun, right? You don't want it to be just this really hostile environment where you're competing so much to where kids are failing and they're not having fun. You want it fun, you want that competitive atmosphere, so they have to learn that mindset of digging deep within themselves, and in doing so, I might fail at something, but I'm going to learn and I'm going to see what hard work gets me as I progress. All right, number 3, and arguably this one might be the most important key to our training. In addition to building strength, I think the thing that should override everything is working on elevating a youth athlete's ability for coordination, decision-making, and multitasking. I think developing these abilities at such a young age is honestly that backbone of athleticism. So teaching them how to utilize their body, how to be coordinated, how to jump, and how to, I'll just say, like, honestly, look athletic. There's a lot of youth athletes nowadays who can't even skip. So teaching them how to be coordinated in their movements, and then working on their decision making and multitasking. So you see us using a lot of tennis balls with our training, keeping it fun and agility. They're not really necessarily thinking about the movement itself, but it's the bigger picture, right? They're having to shuffle while catching a tennis ball, or they're having to react to something. This really improves that cognitive ability and that neuromuscular ability. And when we can teach an athlete this at a young age, you set that foundation, and then as they get older, it just escalates as they grow. Including that type of stuff in their training is literally going to improve their athleticism tenfold. Number 4, and this kind of goes in line with number 1, but to me it's a little bit separate, and it's keeping a slow, consistent progression. Don't go too hard too fast. There is no reason why you need a 10-year-old who's doing some complex workout. Keep it consistent, keep a slow progression. If every week you progress something to where it's not even like making it heavier or adding a rep, but honestly you could keep, like, let's say push-ups, for example. If you have them do like 6 of them, and the first 6 you could probably clean them up, Next week, you try to make those cleaner, stricter. The next week, maybe you add a couple reps. Things like that. You don't need to go too crazy, because especially for novice trainees or youth athletes, they are gonna respond to stuff so well and so quickly. So you don't need that complexity of a movement that you see like professionals doing. Like, it's ridiculous that we're having like 10-year-olds doing training that you see like Christian McCaffrey do, for example. Keep it general, build strength, do stuff that allows for that consistent progression, and that's gonna ride with them for so long, and that's what's gonna cause the greatest adaptation over time. Remember, it's a marathon. With these youth athletes, hopefully they're able to play sports for another 10, 15 years, right? If you have like a 10-year-old, they can play all the way through college, potentially even professional. You don't want them to reach that burnout or that cap out, right? If you can just have steady growth, that is what's gonna be the biggest ROI. Number 5, and I know this one might sound a little counterintuitive based on the ones that we've said before, but don't baby these athletes. What I mean by that is you hear a lot of people who are concerned with having their kids training because they hear all these myths about it. It's gonna stunt their growth, this and that. I don't want my 10-year-old jumping because of X, Y, and Z. And sometimes I'll look at these parents and I'll say, you do realize that what your kid is doing at recess is probably 10 times the impact on their little body that we are getting in here. They're probably jumping off monkey bars, jumping off the heights of a playground, all these little things, not even to mention what they're doing at their sport, right? If you have a soccer player, for example, they're sprinting, they're changing direction, they're getting contact in. All these things are so much greater forces on the athletes than in the gym. That being said, we don't have to necessarily take it easy. You need to be smart, right? There's no need for, you know, heavy back squatting, like I said, with an 8-year-old, something that's like crushing their little spines. But at the same time, to me, there is no harm in having them jump in this and that bound, working on a box jump, for example, at a really high height, and just seeing what they can do. There's no need to baby them based on their age. Like I said, you have to be smart, and there are things you don't want to do just for like common sense. Kids are like, they're so freaking tough. They fall, they're harsh on their bodies, and they bounce right back. So when you are training youth athletes, be smart and be careful, but you do want to create that environment where they can compete, they can learn how to fail, and they can push themselves, because at the end of the day, they are super tough. So hopefully this helps you out. Like I said, these are our 5 keys. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel. We post new videos every Tuesdays and Thursdays, so make sure you're subscribed to catch all of them. Thanks for watching.